Hello, and welcome to the Sword of Mercury. And today, we are going to be revisiting the topic around black holes, but we're going to be looking at a specific phenomenon that has been claimed to happen at CERN. And if any of you guys know about the particle accelerator that operates there, you may know that it creates primordial black holes, or has the potential to create them as the explosion or the force released by colliding subatomic particles near the speed of light have the potential to create a singularity. And we're going to really be talking about what can come about as a result of that. If you guys have ever heard of this kid, his name's Max Laughlin or something like that, something along those lines. And apparently he's this kid genius, or said to be this kid genius. And I don't know, he had this theory that this Mandela effect is going on and we are actually in this parallel universe. I don't think that his theory was quite as complete based on the physics of it as maybe it could have been. So that's why I'm here to reinforce some of the information behind that theory that was put forth by him, because when I heard it, I do believe it was correct. I though think that it is missing some pieces, which is what I'm going to elaborate on here today. So if you have not heard of him, I encourage you to look him up, because the theory actually is quite fascinating. But it basically is saying that when the particle accelerator turned on, and the collision of these particles that created what's known as a primordial black hole or a micro black hole singularity. This essentially led to the creation of a parallel reality that we are all now living in, that is different than the original reality which occurred before we turned on the particle accelerator. So, particle accelerator first went online in 2010. We can see this as like space-time continuum, and the normal timeline of our universe is universe 1, let's say. And let's call this universe 2, the reality that he claims that we are now living in. And here is where we are now, 2025. So we have about a 25 or 15-year gap between these 2 points in time, but we have this deviation to a parallel universe. And I believe in physics behind this. I think that this has absolutely to do with the radiation that is expelled from the black hole, creating by the essentially quantum effects that occur near the event horizon. There's these things called virtual particles, which are particles that are popping into and out of existence all around us, that quantum mechanics says is there, but we can only detect them around a black hole, because immediately when they pop into existence, they immediately pop out of existence, because one particle is created of antimatter and the other is created of regular matter, and they both cancel each other out. You can almost think of it as like you have zero energy in the field, and you're pulling from a point of zero energy to then create something, but because it's based on zero energy, it then has to return to zero energy, which is why they pop out of existence very, very fast. And with this popping into and out of existence, it's created by virtual particles. I just want to say also too, it's kind of similar to consciousness in my opinion. In any case, I digress. These virtual particle pairs are detectable along the event horizon because around this barrier or this threshold or not even light can escape. If one part, let's say the antimatter pair passes over the event horizon before it can recombine with the other one, as seen in these diagrams here, in which they will eventually pop out of existence. Because one part of the particle pair is passed over the event horizon, the other can escape into the universe as actual radiation. So, because that has happened, and the universe now has this imbalance of energy, because the black hole absorbed a piece of energy that was not actually a part of the universe yet, the black hole must then expel a certain amount of energy equivalent to what it absorbed from that particle pair. So that's why this radiation around a black hole is detectable. But the quantum effect that occurs based on this is similar to almost what is created when you have parallel realities being created and popping into and out of existence, as seen with like the multiverse, when they say, every action has an equal opposite reaction, and it will then essentially create an alternate universe where someone made the opposite decision or whatever. It's a similar effect going on here. So, when this part escapes this radiation, we can detect that energy, but the black hole will have to radiate away a certain amount of energy, which is why the black holes within the accelerator don't swallow up the Earth, because they evaporate very fast, because they have to radiate away this energy, and they're not feeding, because feeding is the only way that a black hole can offset this energy loss. So they eventually evaporate out of existence, and due to this effect of the virtual particle pairs, in essence, when we talk about antimatter and matter being released into the universe, these are very significant effects that can only really occur or are detectable around a black hole, which reality itself is already being warped to a great degree. But in the accelerator, you can think of multiple of these primordial micro black holes are being created at one time, and this is leading to these various quantum effects being created inside the accelerator, and these potentials being created in the quantum field, leading to the ability of possible parallel universes, or branching of parallel universes then being created. So, when we go back to what Max is saying about, the Mandela effect, in which, we are now living in a parallel universe where, things seem different, and, if you can even look at the world over the past 15 years, we can see how things have been playing out in some weird ways, and society has been doing some stuff that seems quite out of the normal, and almost somewhat losing its mind to a degree, because, people are not aware of this effect, or are not enlightened or spiritually awakened to a degree, don't move with almost this magnetic compass within them, so they could be subject to very random effects of the universe taking place on their consciousness. In essence, though, we are talking about basically these various potentials being created in the quantum field, which can lead to various potential universes being created. And, I'm no big fan of Elon Musk, like probably many of us are at this point in time, but it is worth noting that, when he drops an occasional bomb around saying something like, oh, aliens created the pyramid or something like that, he did actually say at one point in time that the CERN technology is basically demon technology, which they're utilizing, which is not completely something out of the realm of plausibility, seeing as they are messing with forces beyond their comprehension and out of their control, forces that we cannot even observe with the naked eye or with our tools, being released into our reality. Antimatter, dark energy, X-elements, various forces being released into our reality that are not meant to be there by nature. So, what Max is saying is that essentially because of that, we are now in this alternate reality, which things seem to be similar to the past reality, but they're actually slightly different, and we can notice certain glitches or deviations in reality if we know where to look. So, there's been some theories around there was this effect. Actually, I'll link the video below that talks about all these effects of what Max proposes and whatnot. But there have been various glitches in reality, such as, I don't know if you've heard of the book of the Berenstain Bears or whatever. This guy's walking into a room and the name of the book is changing. In any case, I think some of those are a bit of a long shot, but Max seems to think that these are pretty plausible to explain what is going on here. For me, I look at it more as think of all the ways that society has been changing within the last 15 years that it seems completely out of the norm, especially with all these weird trends and kind of the degradation of the principles that a lot of us still hold in society, or we would consider ourselves on a spiritual or enlightened or aware path, right? So, this demon technology, as Elon puts it, is, I would say, significantly impactful on those who are not in some kind of conscious alignment with some higher force of principality within them. So, I'm not going to get into all the concept of demons in this video, but essentially, if your magnetic field around your body is weak, or it's susceptible to influence, you're more susceptible to the alterations that is created by this parallel stream, which we can see up here on the board. So, I would say that it's not something to, get all worked up about or riled up about or whatever, if you just have an understanding that stuff like this is happening, and you must act consciously in the world we are in now, because there are certain effects going on within our world which are beyond human comprehension, and if you are allow yourself to be swayed by some of the nonsense going on in society, or the manipulation of reality as a result of these forces, and don't utilize it in your interest, then you're essentially at the mercy of whatever effect is taking place on this reality. And I would say just act consciously as you move through life, because consciousness operates on similar physics to what goes on around the event horizon with these virtual particles. Thoughts pop in and out of existence similarly to how these particle pairs pop into and out of existence. If you like when you use your imagination or construct something with your thoughts, like, it's in existence one moment and gone the next, right? So this all relates to quantum effects like entanglement, superpositioning, tunneling. Entanglement basically means, Einstein put it as spooky action at a distance, where the ability to manipulate interconnected particles over an infinite distance. And superposition is essentially a potential state in which a particle is able to be in multiple states at the same time, so it's in a potential state. And tunneling is just where particles can tunnel through either solid objects or disappear from one location and reappear in another, overcoming any barriers in between. Quantum physics says this is possible. We're getting into concepts like wave function collapse, wave particle duality, very advanced phenomenon in physics. But if you can understand the concept that of this virtual particle pair and the quantum effect going on around the event horizon, and how that in turn can create an alternate or parallel reality, or lead to us being now in a parallel reality as a result of this ripple in space-time being created. When a black hole is formed, it almost creates this ripple effect in space and time, especially when you have more than one. We see when black holes actually orbit around each other, such as happens when two black holes orbit around each other and create this dance, or this waltz around each other, in which one black hole will essentially fall into the other. But as they go through this dance and form this 1,000-leaf clover, similar to how we see with the crown center, basically as they form this waltz around each other, with this effect created, there are gravitational waves being actually produced by these black holes, which will travel across the cosmos at the speed of light. And the reason why this is relevant, if you can only understand or pick up one thing from this video, this is the most important thing, is because gravitational waves basically reverberate the fabric of space and time and our reality. So basically it creates this ripple effect. Like, you can think of space and time almost like a pond, and when these two black holes waltz around each other, it creates like a little tap ripple in the fabric of space and time. And because typically there's more than one of these primordial or micro black holes being created inside the particle accelerator, this same effect can take place, creating not just from one black hole a ripple in space-time, but multiple black holes, creating this waltz and this reverberation of space and time, and this vibration in the fabric of reality. So this is essentially how that our reality can be changing in ways that we cannot even comprehend with our consciousness yet. So, but to understand that something like this is plausible, that it's happening, and Max, this apparent kid genius, says that this effect is taking place. When I heard this theory, I said that, well, it seems that this kid might live up to his hype, because to me the theories sound very plausible, because I was actually looking for information similar to what I found of his theory before bumping into his work. So, interesting kid, but I digress. I would say check out that video for yourself. I'll link it in the description below, and it'll talk about the effect that is essentially created here. But concerning the science and physics, this is what I believe is going on with the effect that will allow the creation of this parallel reality or parallel universe. the physics was not so well elaborated on by Max and by those talking about this concept, though the concept itself seemed accurate. This is more so the physics that would support something like this. So, as always, I encourage you to do your own research, look into this for yourself. As I said, I'll link the video below in the description. If you want a reference to understand some of these principles, especially around the warping of space and time as a result of gravity and large masses in the fabric of space and time, I would encourage you to look into Einstein's general theory of relativity, in which he talks about space and time acting as a unified fabric that can be distorted by gravity and large masses, which in turn create gravity. In any case, that is essentially what I have for you today, and I know it's a bit different than some of the stuff we usually talk about, but I think that being conscious of these things in the field grants you a great ability once you realize the fundamental nature of the reality that is transpiring around you, and in some sense is transforming around you, which we can see here. So, as always, I encourage you to like and subscribe to help support the channel. I would also encourage you to check out my other channel, Moonstruck, if you do enjoy topics around this, such as black holes. I recently did a video on black holes, so if you want to sit down and listen to me talk about black holes for around 40 minutes to an hour straight, I encourage you to check that out. It is a bit more of a comprehensive and cohesive explanation compared to what I talked about here. I don't do it in ASMR though, so kind of sad. But anyway, it is podcast format, so I do have some diagrams and pictures up, which are kind of cool. So I encourage you to check that out if you're interested. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for helping support the channel. I do really appreciate all your guys' support. And I'd like to actually share a bit more of my personal experience of life with you guys moving forward. So let me know if you want to hear more about me on a personal level and how I kind of came to be who I am and understand these various phenomena, as well as kind of what I feel like my mission is here around bringing you guys this information, and how the career of content creation will essentially develop my destiny, if you want to call it. So yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of a long story, but I don't know, I have some pretty interesting stories that you might want to hear. Everything from how you can heal yourself with magic to the various physics that can be discovered by an 8th grader who wins an award and eventually goes on to talking about all this stuff. So I've had a pretty interesting journey in life, if I do say so myself, but I do want you guys to have a understanding of who I am, so you can know me on a personal level as well, and understand that when I do talk with you guys about these concepts and about the cosmos, I am doing it from a completely authentic point of view, and maybe you can see a bit into my history of how I came to adopt these kind of mindsets. Also, if you're familiar with DMT, I have some stories around that might be pretty interesting for you to hear. But again, let me know if you want to see a video on that. Yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much all I have for you today. physics and understanding what is going on at the Large Hadron Collider with the particle accelerator. So, yeah, now next time that they set off the particle accelerator, you'll know exactly what is going on. In any case, once again, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Once again, I am the Prince of Mercury. I'm going to repeat that, I butchered it a bit. I am the Prince of Mercury, right here on the Sword of Mercury, and I encourage you guys to comment below also what you liked about this video, what content you would like to see going forward, and let's create some interesting discussions in the comment section, and let me know if you would like to see content on just anything moving forward that I've discussed here in this video. Tell me if you like this, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.